On paper or on a website, these rackets look almost exactly the same.
We have the Speed MP and the Babolat Pure Strike 100.
Specs are almost the same, but we're here to tell you why the Speed MP is the better racket.
Just. Okay, so we have the Head Speed MP 2024 and the Babolat Pure Strike 100 2024.
New.
Brand new, the fourth generation, and as far as we can tell, these rackets are identical. According to the manufacturers, they both have 100 square inch head size. They both weigh 300 grams.
They are both 16 by 19 string patterns.
They have the same balance point of 320 mil. They have the same weight, they have the same balance, but they don't have the same swing weight.
So we are searching for differences in these two very similar rackets. The first thing to consider is beam width. Now the Strike has a changing beam width, so it goes from 23 to 21 and back to 23 millimeters, whereas the Speed is 23 mil throughout. So potentially less drag for whatever small difference that may make, but we are looking for small differences. And the other difference that we can find is in the stiffness. Now, this is definitely stiffer than the Speed.
Yeah.
Within what realm, we don't quite know exactly. We haven't had this on our swing weight machine yet, so we haven't tested it fully, but going off the manufacturers, this is a stiffer racket than that.
We've strung them both at 50 pounds. We've got RPM Blast, Babolat's recommended in the Pure Strike, and we have head links in the Speed. Both strung at 50 pounds, both the same gauge, by the same stringer at the same time, so they couldn't be more similar in that regard. We're gonna get on court, put them through their paces, and we'll let you know how we get on.
Let's go. All right, so we've just come off court putting the new Pure Strike 100 and the Speed MP through its paces. What do you think?
They are really similar, aren't they?
They are very similar.
We were expecting them to be similar. They are very similar.
Yeah.
Both really good.
Yes, both very, very nice. I haven't played much with the Strikes. I played quite a lot with this and recently and really liked it, been really surprised by it. And they are very, very close. And to me, it would just come down to a sort of personal preference. I couldn't say this one is necessarily better than this overall, or this one is better than this. When we get into the categories, there are certain things that I prefer, and that's where it comes down to preference.
Yeah, I think so. For a little bit of really boring history for everybody, I used to play with the Pure Strike and then I moved to the Head Speed. So for me, they are incredibly similar rackets, and it does almost feel like picking one up and putting one down, picking up the other. Nothing's really changing. No. Like, you almost to the point where if they were completely blacked out and you didn't know, it would be quite hard to tell which was which. Like really, they are so similar.
Yes. You mean you're not feeling the less drag because of the slightly thinner beam?
No, that extra 2 mil of drag wasn't really noticeable when I was playing.
I mean, you know, that's all I could feel.
Yeah. That's clearly a better. Oh! Yeah. So I think yes, there's definitely differences, but they are very, very minor.
Yes, they are. Yeah. If you were talking about rating on a scale of 10, one might be an 8.5 and the other might be 8.3. We're talking about tiny, tiny percentages between them. So this is really going to be one of those rackets, or one of these rackets to choose, where it is going to be about your personal preference.
Yes, definitely. So, well, let's start with power, shall we?
Yes, power first. Now for me, my power vote definitely goes to the Speed.
Yes, was this the one area where there was a more noticeable difference than any other?
I think so, but again, we're talking minute. We're not talking like Pro Staff to Pure Drive or something like that. It's not a big golf, but the more powerful racket to me is the Head Speed MP.
Yes, but only just.
Yeah, only just.
Yep. Agreed.
Very good. On to spin, and again, minute details. Yeah. Still able to generate plenty of spin with both rackets, both slice, top spin, getting loads and loads of action off the ball as you'd expect. But again, for me, Speed wins out.
Yeah, because they're thin beams, they're manoeuvrable rackets. That's kind of the point.
Yeah,
they're meant to be easy to throw around. You should be able to get to spin quite easily. So again, there was basically no difference, but ever so slightly.
Yeah, and I think when we reviewed this Speed MP in with the rest of the Speed family, I found that this the 1619 MP version slightly too lively, slightly more difficult to control, and we're obviously going to get to that category, and I think that is the case. But in power and spin, you're obviously getting a lot out of it, but I find I just lose a little bit, which I gain back with the Strike.
So control wise,
yeah, control and precision, it is the Strike for me that's victorious.
Yeah, and that's different because I'm still going speed for those ones.
Yeah,
and I think for me it feels slightly more soft. So we'll get to feel and comfort, but because of that thing, I feel like I've got control.
Yeah,
it feels like the ball's on the racket on the strings for longer. It's definitely got more dwell time. Is what it feels like. So then it kind of gives me the confidence that I've got precision and control.
Yeah,
of this.
And I think because you're getting slightly more spin out of the Speed, that then if you're someone who plays with a lot of topspin, then that topspin is going to give you sort of more control, more precision, because the ball's whipping down into the court a little bit quicker. I found that playing flat and being able to swing sort of freely, that I was able to control with the Strike a lot better. I think probably again must be the sort of the extra the less amount of drag through the air.
Yeah, definitely.
Almost certainly. You can really feel those 2 mil.
Yep. And well, speaking of feel, when it comes to touch and feel and just the general comfortableness
yes.
of the racket, does that slightly lower stiffness rating? Can you feel that? Here, your word was spongy. Yeah. Not as a criticism.
No, so, it feels plush. It feels. I think it's the Auxetic 2.0 most likely, or the Auxetic in general. So it feels very plush. It feels very soft and very comfortable, but not as much feedback. So I think for touch and feel, depending on where the touch and feel is happening, in and around the net, the Speed MP feels soft. It feels comfortable, but it doesn't have the same feedback. On contrary, I think you said this felt sort of rattly and sort of.
I don't want it to sound as a criticism. I do like this racket, but I just don't like it as much as this. And I think that's why it feels. It's really hard to say it without being negative. It feels tinier, plasticky, cheaper almost.
That's the Auxetic, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and it just this feels livelier, but I don't like that. I think that's the best way to put it. The difference in the stiffness is noticeable. Yeah. This feels plusher, richer, softer. Yes. This feels quite sort of sharp and lively. Yes. I just prefer that.
Exactly right. And I think that they actually on touch and feel they're very very close, but they do feel different. This feels soft and plush, and this feels sort of sharp and precise, but not as comfortable. I think that the Strikes often have been criticised for not being that comfortable.
Well, so Babolat's aim with this generation of the Strikes, and this was the same across the whole range of the Strikes, was to try and make them more comfortable, and they have. Yes. But just not as comfortable as the Speed MP. Yeah. I think is probably the best way to encapsulate it. I would suggest the stringing could make a difference here. I think because these rackets are so similar, if you put a softer string in the Babolat and you put a livelier, harsher string in the Speed, we could probably bring them to almost on top. Yeah, almost converge them to completely.
I think that's definitely true. So overall, if I was going to, I think I know your answer on this. I wouldn't know which one I would choose. To me, for power, I would go Speed. For spin, I would go Speed. For control and precision, I would go Strike. For touch and feel, I would think I would go Strike as well, which kind of makes it a dead heat. I don't love the way it looks, but it's not a dead heat overall. So I wouldn't know which one of these to choose, but the difference is marginal and is pure preference. So I would probably pick a blade.
Well, and so I use the Speed MP. Like I was using the old version. The new one came out. We demoed it. We tried it. I absolutely loved it. It's the racket for me. So I am going to say the Speed over the Strike. However, with the caveat, if you took my Speed away, I probably would go for the Strike. Yeah. And I don't think it would be a significant divergence. It would almost be the same. There is no rackets I don't think we've ever tested quite so similar. No. I don't think there's ever been a racket where I would say you have to try them yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
There is impossible to buy these off of spec.
Yeah. I think that the Speed MP will be more popular with more players because of that plush, comfortable feel. It doesn't mean it's better, it just means that it will be more popular because of that reason. So I think overall it's a win for the speed, but we're talking just a win for the speed. In terms of the type of players it's for, very similar, right?
Yeah, again, it's the same. I mean, it's the same players.
Yeah.
I can't think of who this would be right for, who that would be wrong for.
No.
And vice versa. They are both maneuverable, easy to use, fairly comfortable, whippy rackets that you can chuck at the ball, have a good time with, easy to serve with, great at the net. Like,
plenty of control, plenty of feel, plenty of power. Really, both fantastic rackets. As always, we recommend that you try them, and as Ben says, even more so in this case, try them both if you can side by side and try and get a feel for them, because they are both fantastic. If you like what we have to say, or if you don't like what we have to say, drop us a comment. Make sure you subscribe and never miss a thing from PH Tennis.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and all your comments are appreciated, even the negative ones.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, get on court, let's go.
I think just keep being honest and we'll see what happens. That's a good outtake, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's actually be honest.
Yeah.
For a change.
Keep being honest and see what happens. It's good. All right. Shaking with cold or with coffee?
Trying to move my hip. Stop it hurting.
When you're able to just caress the ball around. What just happened?
What was that?
I have a big fear of wasps.
Oh.
Even summer, isn't it?
I thought something terrible had happened.
I thought you'd just been shot. There was a sniper somewhere.
Where were we?